let's go. If your phone, sugar, porn, or late night scrolling winning lately, it's not because you are weak. It's not a character flaw, and I learned that hard way myself. Honestly, I'm still learning it. It's because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, just in a world it was never designed for. I just watched 2 hours conversation between Stephen Bartlett and Dr. Anne Lemke on the Diary of CEO podcast. She's Stanford addiction psychiatrist, and she explained dopamine in a way that completely changed how I see every behavior in my life. I am going to break down science, show you what's really happening in your brain, and give you exact steps to break free. Everything's timestamped so you can jump around in original conversations if you want. Most people think dopamine means pleasure, but it's way more dangerous and way more useful than that. And here is what scared me. 90 to 95% of us already struggling with some form of addiction. We just don't realize it yet. Let me tell you about the rat experiment that blew my mind. Scientists made rats with zero dopamine in their brains. Crazy, right? They put food directly in their mouth and the rat would start eat it. But if they moved the food even one body length away, the rat would literally start to death rather than reach for it. That's what dopamine does. It's not pleasure itself, it's the motivation chemical. Without it, we don't do anything. We don't eat, we don't move, we don't survive. In the pod, there was this balance scale that showed how this works. Every time we do something for fun, drink alcohol, eat sugar, watch porn, scroll on social media, our brain releases dopamine on the pleasure side of that scale. But here is what I didn't understand until now. Your brain immediately works to bring that scale back to the level. It does this by removing dopamine receivers and pulling weights on the pain side. But it doesn't just bring it back to level, it overshoots. It tips you into pain. That's why after watching Netflix for 8 hours, I feel worse than before I started. I feel empty. Why after eating sugar comes that crash I know so well. And evolution did this on purpose. We evolved in the world of scarcity. If you felt totally satisfied after eating, you wouldn't hunt the next day. You would die. So nature made us always want more. In a world of scarcity, this kept us alive. But in a world where I can get dopamine delivered to my door in 30 minutes or access unlimited pornography just with 2 clicks with my thumb, this same thing is destroying us. Here is what happens if you get hitting that dopamine button over and over again. Eventually, you've got so many weights piled on the pain side that you need massive amount of your drug to just feel normal. Not even to feel good, just to feel okay. There were brain scans shown that really shook me. People addicted to cocaine, meth, alcohol, heroin, their brains have almost no dopamine activity even 2 weeks after stopping. They are stuck in a chronic dopamine deficit state. This isn't just about hardcore drugs anymore. We've drugified everything. Work is now game, with stocks options, LinkedIn likes, endless notifications. Food is made in labs and scientifically designed to hit our dopamine buttons. And the smartphone was even called a masturbation machine, a device that meets all our physical, emotional, and sexual needs without requiring any actual human connection. This next part explains something I've lived my whole life but never understood. There is an experiment where rats got cocaine daily for 7 days, then nothing for full year. Their systems are completely clean. Then researchers gave them 1 single dose and immediately the rats were back to the day 7 addiction levels. There is no ramp up period. Once your brain has been addicted to something, even years later, 1 hit can throw you right back into it. This is my life with sugar. I can go months without any craving, feeling totally in control. But if I eat 1 Oreo from the hotel minibar, the next 2 weeks are complete car crash. I'm thinking about sugar all the time, making late night runs to get it, feeling out of control. And it gets worse. Children exposed to addictive stuff early, whether it's sugar, screen or pornography, are literally wiring their brains for addiction as adults. Their growing brains are building the pathways that will control them for the rest of their lives. So what do we do actually about this? There is a solution, and I'm going to try it. The 30-day dopamine fast. Here's how it works. Pick your most problematic behavior. For me, it's probably late night phone scrolls and sugar, I guess. Yeah, but pick one. Give it completely for 30 days. Here is what's going to happen. Day 1 to 14, you are going to feel terrible. Anxiety, irritability, cravings, this is actually withdrawal. You will have this overwhelming feeling that cravings will only get worse with time, but they won't. Day 15 to 30, the craving starts to ease, and by the end, you will feel better than you have in years. Things that seem boring become interesting again. People in your life become engaging. Work that felt meaningless suddenly has purpose. This isn't a cure, it's an experiment. It's a way to see what that substance or behavior is actually doing to you, because when you are in it, you can see it clearly. But here's the truth. Willpower alone will fail. You need something called self-binding. You have to create barriers between yourself and your addictive behavior before you are in the middle of craving it. For me, this means locking up my phone in another room, deleting all apps that steal my time, not keeping junk food in my house, and telling people what I'm doing, so there is some accountability. There is also something called HALT, H-A-L-T. Watch when you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Those are danger zones. For me, it's definitely late night when I am tired and hungry. That's when I make the worst decisions. And then there is something counterintuitive that I am excited to try. Intentionally pursue pain. When you do hard things first, exercise, ice baths, fasting, your brain releases dopamine that lasts for hours afterward without any crash. The upfront cost of effort actually protects you from addiction. You are not going to take ice baths compulsively the way you compulsively scroll on IG. Here is something that really hit me. The way we tell our stories is marker of mental health. When people tell their life story as if they're always the victim, it's always everyone else's fault. They are not doing well and they won't do well in the future. Taking responsibility feels terrible because it triggers shame, but it's actually empowering. It says, I have control, I can change things. When I'm a victim, I'm powerless. Then there was something vulnerable shared in the podcast. A story about losing a child and trying everything to undo the pain. Therapy, everything. It wasn't until saying, I'm going to feel this pain for the rest of my life. It's never going away. That there was actually relief from it, some kind of acceptance. But on the side of being father myself, I really can imagine that. We are all wired to outrun pain, to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort at all costs. But that's exactly what kept us stuck in those cycles. We've lost our ability to tolerate even minor discomfort. We don't have mental calluses anymore. Everything feels like it needs to be fixed, medicated, or escaped from. But here's the truth. The world isn't going to change. Instagram isn't going to become less addictive, junk food isn't going to become less engineered, work isn't going to stop being gamified. But I can change. Yeah, and you can definitely too. I'm going to run the 30-day experiment with my worst behavior. I'm going to create those barriers before I am in the middle of craving, and I'm going to embrace discomfort instead of constantly running from it. And I'm going to take responsibility for my choices instead of blaming the algorithm, my stress, others, or any other circumstances. The balance scale is in my hands. I am the one choosing what to do with my life. And what are you going to do with yours? You got this. Peace.